Hi, I'm Lewis and welcome to the 6th devlog for my tower defense game, Project Torrim. Last week I started to work on the mobile input task. Unfortunately I had a few issues getting an Android emulator to work with that, but luckily I managed to deploy the game onto a physical Android device and start debugging the code I wrote. This week I'm continuing on the mobile input task, debugging the code from last week and trying to get mobile inputs working, with the main aim of having mobile input at the end of the week. Let's get into that. Okay, so this is what I managed to create this morning. I tried tap gestures and drag gestures. Currently I have drag gestures set up. Here I have a representation of the cursor in game, and if I drag my finger across the screen, it will move the cursor, which is quite nice for debugging input and particularly nice to show where my finger is on the screen recordings. So if I drag my finger to open the tower buying menu and buy a tower, oh, that's not great. Sometimes I do get little crashes like this, where the game seems to think it's detecting multiple gestures. That's something I'll have to look at soon, but for now I think this is a good start. I can actually interact with elements on the mobile game, and I should be able to tinker with this for tapping buttons and dragging towers. This morning I'm continuing with my mobile input task. Yesterday I observed some lag between the collision map and the input events, causing some gestures to have to be performed twice. So today I'll be looking at fixing that. Okay, so I fixed the disparity between the collision and input events, meaning you don't have to double tap everything to get it to work. The next step is to get dragging to work, stop the tower spawning in the top left, and actually let the player move the tower. This is what I've got today. When you tap on the tower buying buttons, which is a little finicky with the small resolution. But anyway, if I tap the buy button, I will get a tower spawning on my cursor. If I tap anywhere else on the screen, the tower will move there. Now obviously there are a few issues with this, like there's no way to lock the tower into place, and I'd like for the player to be able to drag the tower by dragging their finger across the screen as opposed to tapping. This feels like good progress. I was a little worried I wasn't going to get anything today, but in the end I managed to get this, and tomorrow I'll be starting to set up drag gestures with this properly. It's Wednesday and today I'll be continuing to look at the mobile input task. Yesterday I managed to make good progress with the tap gesture, and today I'm going to add the drag gesture. So I'll catch up when I've got something there. This is what I managed to get this morning. I've added drag events to the cursor, and this kind of works with a tower. Spawning a tower, I can begin dragging the tower into place, however it's a bit finicky to grab the tower. My main concern with this is that you can't just tap to begin dragging the tower, you have to drag the cursor onto the tower to begin moving it. This is good progress because I can drag the tower around, although I feel the progress was slow. I'm a little unsure how I'm going to proceed with this, but that's the problem for me to think about tomorrow. Right now I'm going to go get ready for work. It's Thursday, and once again I am continuing on my mobile input task. So far I've been looking at tap and drag gestures, which are kind of working. I can tap buttons in the game, which I can use to spawn a tower, and I can drag the tower around. Unfortunately, if the drag is too fast or held down a little too long, it will think the drag's finished. This just isn't great, so I'm going to investigate and consider what I can do to improve this. I spent some time playing about and debugging the gestures. I'm starting to get the feeling that gestures aren't exactly what I need, especially considering the mouse input the game uses on desktop. I'm interested to see how the input fares if I use a touch panel instead of gestures, so I'm going to commit all my gesture code and look into implementing a touch panel version. Okay, I've just made some fairly big changes to introduce touch as opposed to gestures for my mobile input. Let's see if this has broken the Windows build. It shouldn't have. Oh, look, looks like I've missed a bit. Here, the Windows version is working, although the path seems to be hiding itself a lot more than it used to. That'll have to be something I look into soon. Now let's see the impact of switching gestures to touch is on mobile. This is the mobile version, and oh, that is good. The cursor moved immediately when I tapped. Dragging my finger around, it's fine too. I can do this pretty fast actually. Spawning a tower, I can't seem to drag this. Okay, so this change makes the mobile input feel quite a lot more responsive and doesn't seem to cause the crash I noticed on Monday. This seems like a great change, and tomorrow I'll have to look into how dragging can work with this. Once that's done, I think mobile input can be considered complete. It's Friday morning and it's the last day in my development week. Today I hope to finish my mobile input task by getting dragging to work with the new touch-based input that I added yesterday. I'll catch up when I have something there. Playing about with the release state of a touch, I have come across a wee issue. Here in my debug window I can see that the release state gets registered, however it never gets to the breakpoint in the cursor touch event because the collider only runs that code when you first touch the cursor. That means a press event will work, however move and release will not. So I'll switch this over to a touching event and see if that helps. Okay, so this is what I've got this week. I can now tap to buy a tower and drag to put it in place. This essentially brings the mobile version of the game to the same point as the desktop, which is great. It's a shame that I couldn't get gestures to work for this, however I've now got some experience with them, so I may be able to look at introducing them back into the mix at some point in the future. Right now I want to move the mobile input task to done. It took a lot longer than I thought it would take. I've spent almost 2 weeks on this, but I'm happy that it's working. Thanks for watching Devlog 6 for Project Torrim. I'm having a blast recording all my progress, and I hope you're enjoying watching it. If you are, please leave the video a like, and if you want to keep up to date with the progress on Project Torrim, then subscribe to my channel. Thank you and goodbye.